You're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. We'll go on a break. When we come back from the break, we'll be discussing politics. And we'll be asking the question, the opposition in River State, has it been effectively absorbed into a single political empire? And who is benefiting? Kingsley Wali, popularly called K-Man or the Godfather, will be joining us. Stay with us after this break.
Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in River State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government is supporting us or not. Look, if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Goodluck Jonathan borrowed for Abuja, Kaduna. At the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Segun Owolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. You're listening to Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Now we go to our next topic of discussion. And this time around, we'll be looking at counting down to 2027. What future for opposition politics in River State? And this discussion will be exploring political landscape in River State as we lead up to 2027, particularly focusing on the realignment of opposition forces, the implication for voters, and political engagement in River State. And we have joining us all the way from Abuja, who is live with us on Zoom, the Convener, Unity House Foundation, promoter of the August meeting and a member of the board of director of Education Champions League. We have joining us here, K-Man, is popularly called K-Man. A lot of people will call him the Godfather, Kingsley Wali. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Apostle, and thanks for all of the energy you tried to get me on. As a retired politician,
oh my God,
I'm just trying to catch my breath.
A retired politician.
Let the retired politician breathe.
Well, Kingsley Wali is joining us, and Kingsley Wali, thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank. Again, so let us start with the big elephant in the room. You used to belong to the opposition in River State, even though you describe yourself as a retired politician. But has the opposition in River State been effectively absorbed into a single political empire? Looking at what is going on nationwide and also River State, what is going on? How would you describe the opposition in River State?
Well, Apostle, Pastor, I think to a large extent, it's very important that you situate whatever is happening in River State within the context of the bigger political ecosystem. That is the Nigerian political ecosystem, which basically, that what's happening in River State is a reflection of whatever is happening nationally. So it's nothing strange, it's nothing new. Unfortunately, it's not historical. These are things that took root, basically because we are involved in politics and governance without principles. I'm sorry, but that's what the truth is. People get into political parties not because of any kind of ideological belief, but just because, yes, some people will say that politics is an economic game, but it's also important that I don't have a problem with anybody trying to benefit from the process, but the primary responsibility of politics is to acquire power to be able to deliver on governance. But unfortunately, in the last, since the Fourth Republic especially, it started trickling in from the Third Republic. Our politics has been one that is based on absolute selfishness, greed, and laziness. It's never been about governance. So if people are in politics without the guiding principle of, I want to go and serve people in all honesty and truth. So it doesn't matter to them, the word opposition doesn't make any meaning. What's important is just try and get yourself around the corridors of power, any which way you want to do it. So that's why you have a political party in power and nobody's really challenging them. So it's not something that is happening in River State now in the last 1 year, 2 years, or whatever. I can tell you for free, the last time when we had anything that had a semblance of opposition, it wasn't even from the opposition political parties. It was an internal bloodletting, if you ask me, under PDP when His Excellency Dr. Peter Odile was governor.
Yeah.
And they had some Rivers Democratic Movement or something led by the Venerable Chief Alabo Graham Douglas, um, Chief Awuse, Sergeant Awuse, Chief Mashahada, and the rest of them. So it was an internal thing. The political parties that were supposed to act as opposition just went dead. And half of them just found their way into the PDP then. But it became worse by 2007 when Chief Rotimi, sorry, I wouldn't want the one Chief called, when my friend and brother Rotimi Amici became governor. Opposition died completely because parties became a platform for people to contest elections. Not because they even plan to win, is to be able to put themselves in a position where they can bargain for something from the government in power. So when you talk about opposition, you ask yourself, what kind of opposition? What's supposed to be? When in actual sense, the major plank of a successful democratic process is the opposition party that should put the government in power under check.
True.
Unfortunately, it's something that died with the Second Republic to all intents and purposes. We'll probably say, okay, it's a quality of recruitment of politicians. You found out that when Chief Adam George became governor, he chose his boys as members of his cabinet. Dr. Peter Odili elevated it, chose his grandchildren as his members of his cabinet. Of course, Amici chose his friends. So it wasn't really about the quality of politicians, people who could stand up there. Um, 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 Pastor Segun, let me just take you back. I don't know when you came into Port Harcourt. As far back as the Second Republic, when I started really, really appreciating what was happening around me, the opposition was very vibrant, very exceptionally vibrant.
True.
Chief Fodokilo ran the state at every particular point in time. He cared about what Chief Edward Kobani was going to say to that policy. He cared about what Chief Sisi Wuche was going to say. He cared about what Senator Wali was going to say. He cared about what Chief Agma was going to say. So the point is that you had Francis Ella, you had politicians who were not willing to sacrifice what they believed in. I'm not saying that what they believed in was right, but they believed in something. And they remained in their party and provided the opposition that was helped to put Chief Okilo on his toes. Not even the internal opposition. That people, Chief Amba Ambawe and the rest of them brought in, Chief A. Kenny brought him into the system and all of that. So these were men who joined politics because of what they believed in. Now, without sounding very degrading, what we have now are power mongers and people who want to be part of the power mongering, not people who understand the fundamentals of politics or governance. Nobody really cares about. If you care about the people, you be bold enough to say what you think is in the best interest of the people, not minding who is in power. But now everybody we transited from the era of the governor, His Excellency, to the era of Oga. And whether you like it or not, that word Oga is representative of how much you are willing to submit yourself to some authority, because there's no limit. When somebody is your guy, the best that can happen to you is just for you to hope that something drops from some crumbs drop from the table. You're not interested in challenging your guy. Can you challenge your guy? So it's that mentality that is prevailing now, and it's basically, I repeat, because the recruitment process for politicians has been reduced to the level of 20%, far above the average.
Yeah.
So the so-called opposition does not really exist. What you find out are people who are falling out of favor and probably just making noise because they are not in the dining room of power. The day they are called to come and eat, you will see them pontificating over rubbish and justifying what doesn't make sense. So who is the opposition? Where is the parties that ran election against what do you call it, Governor Sibla Fubara? Where are they? They're dead. They're all practically dead. In fact, the opposition you have in River State, I don't know about the rest of Nigeria, it's social media. Unfortunately, that's what it is. Because that's why you have the only problem I have with that is that most times it's not organized, it's not sequenced in a way or synchronized in a way that will orderly and make sense. That opposition is very toxic. They're just there insulting people and all that. But the most important, there are people who are bold enough to challenge the governor. There are people who are bold enough to challenge those in power. You understand? But the political parties have gone on sabbatical. So I don't know if anybody is talking about the road of the opposition moving forward. You can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. There is no opposition. There's no party. There are no parties that you refer to as opposition. Trickle it down to the national level, or I don't know which way to put that, national level, trickle it down to the River State scenario. Everybody in Nigeria is jumping into APC. Everybody in Nigeria. Just a few people who are very angry. And their anger is not based on ideological difference. It's because they are no longer in a position to dictate the terms of political enjoyment. So it's a very difficult conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because it would have been decent if we're having a conversation to say, okay, the opposition parties, where are the opposition parties? Pastor Femi,
Pastor Segun.
Pastor Segun,
Yeah.
in River State, where are they? Which party? Okay, you have the PDP, right? You have the APC. And the APP, the whole thing is a bit confused. I don't even know how to put it, because one person is I had a call with somebody, a friend of mine. I said, say, my brother, you have moved on, or you're not even taking care of your brother, your senior brother. And he goes, senior, how do you mean? I said, you left me now. You know you are my leader now. And I said, oh God, does anybody even know where anybody is? There can't be a better way of describing or holding the conversation about opposition in River State than that. The governor, the suspended governor, is a member of PDP, right?
Yes.
You will see his supporters wear their Siwaju cap, right?
Something like that.
Sorry?
Something like that.
Exactly. Then let's be frank and honest about it. You will still see the supporter supporters run election under APP in River State. It's not something like that, Pastor Shegun. They ran election under APP. So which one is the opposition party now? The Honorable Minister for the FCT has his members, his supporters who are in charge of the state executive of the party. His sympathizers, let me put it that way, are in charge of the APC, one wing of the APC. Chief Emeka Beke is in charge of the APC that is not recognized by the national body. So it's all a whole gamut of confusion. You don't even know how How do you define opposition in the context? How do you describe the parties that are in opposition?
Actually,
If you have an idea of a party that's in opposition, you mention it, then we can have that conversation around that.
yeah, fantastic. We're looking about politics. We're talking politics and River State, and I'm speaking to Kingston Wali. It's popularly called Cayman or the Godfather, and we're asking where exactly is River State in the political scheme of Nigeria? River State, once known for its vibrant political structure, how do you explain the current passive, once outspoken opposition voices in River State? Is it a situation of fear, disillusionment, or deals? Where actually are we? And that's what I'm talking to Kingston Wali. And again, I hear you when you say that there is total confusion in the politics in River State, and you say that what we have now is power mongers and those who want to be part of the power mongering. But again, I want to ask you, given what we are seeing now, do you think some will argue that what we are witnessing now is not political strategy but political surrendering? Do you think this is the situation in River State? Is it political surrendering or political surrender?
Pastor Segun, when you raised, you laughed over the issue that I said I was a retired politician. Truly, I left the political space, that is partisan politics, out of frustration. Frustration in the sense that you don't even know who is having a meeting with you today and will be available to hold another meeting with you tomorrow. You might hold a strategy session with him today. By the next day, he's jumped ship. So it was so frustrating to have a decent conversation over our political future. Even you're talking about a group. It was so difficult. You didn't know who was a spy. You didn't know who was a mole. You didn't know who was just there to, see what you can grab out of the system. So it's so difficult. It's so really difficult for you to remain in a system that people who are part of it have no convictions about anything whatsoever. People who don't have the courage whatsoever to challenge people. I don't have a problem with saying, Pastor Segun, I don't think you're doing well in the area of religious broadcasting.
Yeah.
You're doing fantastically well in politics,
Yeah.
analysis, and education, security, and all of that. I want you to be able to see that as a compliment, an opportunity for you to do things better. But we have been so caged, like you said, the political surrendering, that people are even so scared to say anything. So what naturally happens is that when you even decide to speak up, not even speak up, to try to correct somebody and say, look, I don't think this route we're going is going to help us. You are not seen as the person who is challenging Oga. You become the problem rather than even the main issues of governance. People have personalized this whole thing, power and all of it. So you have cowards all over the whole. People cannot speak. I always make reference to the father of the Right Honorable
Chibudanwuchi, yes.
Yes, his father, Chief Sisi Wuche, was the chairman of NPP, Nigerian People's Party, the main opposition party in Rivers State, under Chief Med Folokilo. He spoke up for his party. He spoke up against things that he didn't like that the government was doing. And then the government wanted to award contracts. When they did the expression of interest, published for tender and other, Sisi Wuche and Co. applied or submitted their bid and everything. And when they won their contracts, they did their jobs, they got paid. Nobody was victimized for challenging the government in power. So I think that's what has happened since 2020, since 2019, or sorry, 1999. The centrifugal forces within the party in power are not willing to give anybody any benefit of the doubt that you can have an idea on how to make government better. So it's always a party in government against the people who tend to. And some people will sit back and say, it's not the evening fight, self. The people are not going to listen to me. On election day, will they collect 5,000 naira? and vote for the person that has been their problem, because we are suffering from class, what is Stockholm syndrome. Everybody is just generally comfortable with their oppressor
But Cayman,
for some reason.
Cayman, in the light of all of this, do you
Mm.
see any credible space for a third force in the political scheme in River State? Or would you say the political terrain in River State is too tightly controlled to allow for any movements or breathe? Can we really breathe in the political space in River State?
I know a couple of people will say we said it. What I want to say now, they are going to say we said it. It came on. Governor don't betray. They blah 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 and all of that. But you see, politics is not for children. Power game is meant for adults. Adults, I mean intellectual adults and people who are hardworking. The only way you can be successful in politics is to work hard, is to strategize. If you don't strategize and move on populist tendencies, you will end up the way people find themselves when they are more populist, more like when they are more like, like to be praised and all of that. Hardwired politicians always win because of hard work. I've heard people say, oh, there's one overbearing figure as far as River State politics is concerned. Where were we when the man acquired all the power that made him overbearing? Which politician sits back and dispenses political power to people freely without expecting anything in return? I don't know whether you're connecting what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you're lazy politically, the people who are strong politically will always take advantage of your laziness, of your lack of strategy when embarking on political runs. So there's nowhere in the world that anybody will give you power. It has not happened anywhere in the world. We always fantasize over this thing about democracy. Pastor Shebu, one of the biggest poster boys of the West today in Africa is what? Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Kagame has been president of Rwanda for how many years? Over 20 years. Google and find out the place of the opposition leader in Rwanda. Google and find out the place of opposition leader in Russia and China. So point I'm making is that we need to deliberately decide what we want. Do we want to run a one-party state, a one-party government, both at the state and the federal level? I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem. Instead of it to have lazy opposition that will keep wasting our money and wasting our time every 4 years, so they're running the election. People will just come pick up party tickets, make noise, we'll spend so much money on campaigning, on elections. At the end of the day, immediately after the election, people will get back into their kitchens. Those who are not getting into their kitchens will be struggling to jump onto the love boat, as Chief Obefo Okilo used to call it in those days. So there is just no, Pastor Shem, I don't see anything that gives me the impression that between now and 2027, that we're going to have the kind of thought force that you're imagining that will be able to challenge the present institution. It's all going to be a rigmarole of noise, people just making noise, people just, like I said earlier on, just to find themselves in a position where they're able to negotiate. Just do a bit of rain check. Look at all the people, the major parties in 2015 elections in River State. All the major parties 2019 elections in River State. Do a census, a political census of where are they now. So you can see that even people who you and I will believe who might be in a position to create that vibrancy, to bring the kind of energy that you need to challenge the system or those in power, have all capitulated. So even if you look at the national level, they talk about the coming of the coalition. These are things that are born out of bitterness and anger and frustration. They are not born out of ideology. So even if the coalition works tomorrow,
Okay.
they access power, it will still be the same story.
All right. All right.
Same thing in River State.
I just wanted to hold it a little bit because we're going to bring our listeners into this conversation. You're listening to Point Blank, and we're asking the big question: where is River State in the political scheme of things in the country? And just like Kingsley Wali just said, he is not seeing between now and 2027. He is not seeing any vibrant third force coming up in River State. And according to him, politics is not for lazy men. And if you want to be in politics, you must work very hard. And we're asking this question: River State, known for its fiery debates and bold personality, how do you explain the current eerie silence from formerly vocal opposition figure? And Kingsley Wali has challenged us. Look back, even to 2020, 2015. Where are the politicians? Is it a case of hustling? Is it political patronage? What do you think? Is it a quiet surrendering we are seeing in the political space in River State? Let's have your voice join us in this conversation right now. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Oh, we lost that call. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right, let's take this one. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Pom Blank.
Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead, 60 seconds.
Okay. I want to thank you for the work because now, because this 2015 election, when our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and specifically, Amechi was on the field that time, within our opposition party was very, very bland. PDP, APC battling with APC government that time. But what I'm saying now, for this thing of political government, all the politicians I want to align with the review of our Mr. President.
Okay.
All the politicians want to align, which is supposed to be so. Because some politicians, if you look at
okay, so for you, what you're trying to say that ideology is dead, it's all about political patronage. Let's take another call. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. My name is Good News.
Good News, good morning.
Thank you. My senior brother, I greet you, sir. It's Akiman. Yes. You have said almost everything that is in my mind concerning the political scenario in Rivers State and Nigeria at large. But if you look at it again, I say that it is a result of hunger and lack of job. A state where everybody has what they are doing. No politician will bring them to ridicule. You see people running around today, jumping from one party, betraying is because, one, they don't have what to do. They are lazy to go and do what they want to do. Even if the ones that have summoned courage to go and do what they will do to make ends meet for themselves, the government will frustrate it. If the government don't frustrate it, the people they employ will steal and destroy the things that they've gotten and no protection for them. At the end of the day, there is laziness in the house, in the land, and because there is laziness in the land, the government, they can easily jump from one party, one place to another, collecting anything they can grab. So imagine me that somebody told me that hungry go catch me because I no going to follow Wiki. I said that will continue to remain in APC. And again, before I stop, let me thank you again because you came man. Because I will not forget that sometimes your community, you did well in the hall, you did many things in your church, in Romalog, but during time for election, those some persons betrayed you. They didn't support you.
All right, let's leave it at that. I think you've made your point very clearly. I'm going to take two more. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Segun.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Chimadike. I'm calling from Mokuta.
Chimadike, good morning.
Segun, our politics in River State, well, this is the case study here. We continue to suffer because of those our elder bros, like your guest at the video, have refused to retire from politics.
He is retired. He said he's a retired politician. What more do you want?
I think he's retired now.
He said he is retired.
Yeah, because we used to know him as a very strong politician in this Soviet
That does not mean that he's not still strong, but he said he's a retired politician.
Okay, because you know why? These persons are friends to each other. It's just forgiving themselves is very easy. Like example now, the most person that forgives most very in weekend.
Okay.
And if you see them themselves there, when they be offending themselves in different political whatever I'm saying, they will usually cross to the other side.
Okay.
Then if we that are on the grassroots cross become players, you understand? Like
Yeah.
like him now, he said, but reference to physical investing.
You think so?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Then after everything, he can go and meet his friend again. I say, I can be now. His friend would say, I better
All
come.
right. Well, thank you so much. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. I think you've made your point. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning.
Pastor Segun, I'm
Dr.
back
Victor
again.
Dubo, good morning. Yes.
It's funny. In fact, your guest has said it all. He has just said it all. But I will tell you one simple truth. Today, we don't have politicians. No politicians. Because what makes you a politician is when you have a voice. What we have now is the boys.
The
And
boys.
the organ. Just like he said, the boys and the organ. So the boys will never have a voice. If the organ say lie down, you lie down because of stomach infrastructure. It's what they are doing now. That is why you see a winner will always have it all. He will not let go. And he would like to maintain his position till he dies. That is just the problem. But one day, God will rescue us from the organ and the boys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Victor Dubo. And I'll come back to Kingsley Wali. Kingsley Wali is a fierce political voice in River State, though he described himself as a retired politician. But I know that he's not tired. And again, thank you so much, Kingsley Wali, for joining us. Now, you said something that caught my fancy. You said, before, it used to be Your Excellency, His Excellency. Said, but now, it is my Oga or Oga. So much you've said there, if we want to expand on it. But again, let us talk about the people. If 2027 arrives with no real opposition on the ballot, do you think we're still running a democracy or we're staging a coronation?
Well, first time before I answer, I need to commend your last speaker. He just gave me a line that I'm very comfortable. The boys do not have a voice. Very fantastic line. It takes a lot of thinking to be able to string that together, but it's quite reflective of. In fact, it's trying to tell the whole story about our situation in just a sentence, in a phrase. The boys don't have a voice. But talking about 2027, politically speaking, we don't have, I repeat, I may be wrong, truly, but I don't see anything in the horizon that will give me the comfort to speculate even there's a possibility of a vibrant political process come 2027. Because my senior friend, permit me to digress a little bit, my senior friend, Elder Chidi Uyoka, he said, by Wednesday, now you go no weekend, we go good. If by Wednesday there's nothing in your pocket, start planning about the next weekend.
Not this one.
Not this one. So this is 2025. Ordinarily, we should start talking about politics by the mid-summer 2026 or towards the end of the work. You and I know that the entire political space is very active all over the country. Even before the present government is here to celebrate their second anniversary, right? But you see, if you use River State as a case study, you and I will appreciate the fact that, well, this is one state that will play politics from the day of inauguration to the day of the next inauguration. We will never have a break. No political siesta, if you ask me. But the point is this: what are always the issues? They are never about governance. Never. They are never about the fundamental principles of politics. They've always been ego issues, personal aggrandizement, personal disagreements, bitterness. If you just rewind a bit and go back to what has been happening in River State in the last 16 months, if it was something that was about governance, I'm certain, 100% certain, that this whole imbroglio would have been settled by now. Because if it's government policy, you don't get personal about it. You cannot be personal about the fact that the governor decided to declare free education. Would you? No.
No.
You can't go personal because the governor decided to build health centers. No, you can't. It's always about ego. Unlike the very petrol of Ondo politics, IFI show will say, stomach infrastructure. And when you are involved in that, it's like what they say when you're eating. The habit is you don't talk. It's a dining etiquette.
Yeah.
When you're eating, you don't talk. So it's after the lunch or dinner, the meal, when they are gathering the plates and the spoons, that's when they start hearing clatter of noises and all of that. But the point is that nobody in River State, I challenge anybody in River State to say that he has talked about governance in the last 2 years. All we have done in the last 2 years, talking about the people even, insults yes a wiki, insult sim, insults yes a wiki, insult sim, and you ask yourself, where is the interest of Rivers people in all of this? Forget all the prayer with that we the Rivers people. Everybody is with the Rivers people. The wicked people will say we are the Rivers people. The sim people will say we are there. We now I don't understand again where I'm from, Imo State to Abia State, because we trivialize governance. People make the mistake in thinking that that's one of the issues I've had with most political leaders. Sometimes they say, oh, I'm a bit, whatever. Well, that's a business. Can we for once have a conversation around governance? Can we for once have a conversation around governance principles? What is, for fear of being accused of taking sides now? But the point is, apart from the interest of Rivers people, I represent the interest of Rivers people. It's Rivers people I care about. What has the government of Rivers State done that will say, okay, this is the policy, whatever. Some people might say the economic summit. We all know how it's ended.
True.
And if you talk about the people on the side of the minister, it's always been about we put him there. And he's no longer loyal, he's not patronizing the people who helped him, which is a legitimate argument, if you ask me. Now, sometimes when I hear people who are now swearing and cursing the minister, I'm like, seriously, I hope I'm not getting off the tangent. But the point is, if you get into politics, you must be identified with something. Chief Obafemi Awolowo ran elections in this national elections in
Well, we seem to be having some connection problem with Cayman, and we'll get back to Cayman on the. It's making a very serious point, and very soon we'll have that connection. Our engineers, okay? Yes, go ahead, Cayman. Yes,
it's not possible. People identify you for something. I sit down this and I ask myself, if the likes of Abba Macaulay, Matthew Jike Mbonu, Ibrahim Imam, Azikiwe himself, Awolowo, Sadwana, do you know that Sadwana actually went to jail once for rebelling against the system? The great Sadwana. How many young people today are willing to take on the state, take on the system and say, look, I don't care what is going to happen. This is not right. But they will say, our leaders. I heard one of my brothers talk about me that, quite frankly, I think at 63, I should be able to sit back and say, okay. I did my best, but I didn't succeed.
Now,
so
Cayman,
I might consider myself somebody who failed.
Okay, Cayman, we're going to take some comment from the social media, and Constance will be taking that. And when we come back from that, I'm going to ask you a question, because I listened to a veteran broadcaster who's also from River State, Donubari Kobara. She spoke on one of the national TV, and one of the phrases I got from Donubari, she said, Governor Fubara needs to step up or step down. Because we cannot conclude this this segment without talking about River State. And I'm going to ask you, do you agree with Donubaru Kobara when she said Governor Simla Ifubara needs to step up or step down? But first, let's take the comments that are coming in from the social media. Constance?
Okay, from Pro Rivers Elder Statesman. He says, "Good morning, Pastor. Good morning, Elder K-Man. What do you refer to as lazy? Considering the approach to coerce, frustrate, intimidate, usage of state apparatus against the people and individuals."
Okay, so again, that's a question directly from you. Somebody saying, what do you mean when you say politicians are lazy? So maybe you want to reflect on that, then we'll come to my last question.
Yes, when I was closing the last statement, I made reference to Nigerians who challenged the colonial authorities in their late 20s and early 30s. So coercing people who are in opposition is nothing new, it's not novel. Those in power have always tried to intimidate those out of power. I made reference to Sarona Ahmadu Bello. He was once detained, tried, and jailed. And what's the offense? For saying no to the system. So the idea that people are coerced, that people are intimidated, it's not new. Mazo G.K. Bondo once said that if you say that it's difficult to uneasy lies the head that wear the crown, give me the crown, let me wear it. I want to wear it. They fought. People like Professor Zibiro. Young people in their 20s, their 30s. They resisted oppression. But it's so convenient for people now to say, oh, for fear of, like, I think it was Fela who said it, Nigerians they don't want to die. They fear. I know one die, Papa did for us, Mama did for us. I'm not saying anybody to go and kill himself, die because of any politician. The referral right to me will say that they don't get caught in their battle. Our former president said that no Nigerian life is what his need to remain in office is not what the blood of any Nigerian, even if I'm paraphrasing it. But the point is that if you want something, you must remain steadfast. No matter what anybody is saying or doing, no matter what. I had my friend say, oh, my friend Amici will come in tomorrow. My brother, you don't know me. If you know me, I've worked closely with me, I have no fear for any human being on earth or what you do to me. But I have a lot of respect for my friends and those I've started to work with. But the moment you're getting off, I tell you, no, sorry, I'm not going to be part of this. You're wrong. I don't like this. That is what I feel. And I say that I sleep well at night every day because my conscience is at peace with decisions I have taken politically, privately, or openly. So it's not about being intimidated. It's not about what. No. It's not about. It's just people are not ready to not necessarily die, suffer for what they believe in. Let me put it mildly.
All right, fantastic. I'm going to take some comments who are coming in on our WhatsApp page and some voice notes, one or two of them. Then I'll be asking you the final question. I was referring to an interview which Donubari Kobara granted on our national TV. And one of the phrases she said there is that Governor Simlai need to step up or step down. So in reflecting to what is going on in River State, do you agree? But first, let me take this voice note. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Fred Michael from Nkoro. The guest in the studio, good morning. I want to talk about what they get. The guest has spoke very, very well. He has spoke my mind. That is what is going on in our society. Lack of job. Let them go and find something to have their own business. They should have their own business to do so that they can stand as opposition. Because of lack of job, you see them after the election, they will dance to the tune of the ruling party, which is not so. Have their own business so that you can stand and speak for your people and stand for your people. Because of because of laziness, they will go and join the ruling party, which is not fair. So that the opposition will be there, opposition will speak.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Segun. And one more. Thank you so much. Let's take this one.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank God Friday from Okoro.
Thank God. Good morning.
In Ahoda East local government area. It's quite unfortunate how we play politics in this part of the world. Most times I even wonder how these boys will come out from their hideout, come out, kidnap citizens without being intercepted by either the Navy, the police, or the Marine unit of the police.
Well, again, I think you were referring to the first segment, but again, thank you so much for those contributions. And we're still having a conversation with Kingsley Wali, K-Man or Godfather. said he's a retired politician. But again, Keman, let's come now to River State now. I told you what Donu Kubara said, a veteran broadcaster with the BBC and done several things. And she said, Governor Simlaipura needs to step up or step down. Do you agree with that phrase?
Well, it's, our senior and a sister that we're very proud of her accomplishments in the area of journalism. I don't think that I want to readily give her a thumbs up for that statement. And why do I say that? They say if you don't like the heat in the kitchen, then don't get out of the kitchen. During the launch of Sulamido's book, Basanjo made a statement that when he was appointing ministers after he became president, he made them to sign letter of resignations so that anyone that doesn't perform, he will just release that letter of resignation. He doesn't need to. And when they got to the film, he wasn't going to sign any letter. That you're appointing me. At any point in time, if you're not comfortable with me, sack me. You'll be asking what is the nexus between that and what Don Kubara has said. Where were all these people when Minister Wiki selected Sim Fubara and made him governor? Where were they? When did Sim Fubara become the savior? It is politics, Pastor Segun. This is hardcore politics. The man has come up and said that, look, some of the things people are doing, I know Sendo now, and it's causing me problems. What I want to deduce from that is that let me carry my cross. I've heard people say stuff like, the state of emergency is unconstitutional, lift the ban, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine, fantastic idea. They sound nice, they sound populist and great. When you remove the state of emergency and bring back Governor Sim, because that's the person that was voted for, what about the assembly? You won't bring them back. When you bring that same assembly, in the state of belligerence in River State, what do you expect that will happen? I was excited when Governor Sim made that statement. Excited because I want to genuinely believe that he meant it. More like, allow me to sort this thing out. There's only one person who can sort out the problem in River State right now, because it's political. It's political. It's not insults that will solve the problem of River State. It's not this gingering, saying you are the man, do this. Like some people, when Sim came out from the Abuja talk, after the Abuja talks, oh no, it's not constitutional. This, that. When Sim was suspended, did you see any of those people? They misled him. I'm sorry. That's my personal opinion. So asking Sim to either step down or stand up or lie down or whatever is not what is going to solve the problem. Let's be very realistic. Governor Sim, I believe at this point, understands what he needs to do, because it's his political career that's at stake here. Forget all this about, it's about Rivers people. It has never been about Rivers people since 1999. It has never been. I'm not living under any kind of illusion or denial about the fact that it has never been about Rivers people. It's always been about power game. Who is in power? Who is able to dispense political power so that they will be able to climb? Have you wondered why every governor in Rivers State ends up trying to be president of Nigeria? If it's about the fantastic things they did as governor or whatever, it's not personal, my brother. It's pure political business. Let people allow politicians to play their politics. Don't get unnecessarily intellectual over what at that point in time will not solve the problem. On the politicians will solve the problem of River State after coming in full realization of the fact that disagreements in River State are political. They have not to do with religion, have not to do with ethnic, whatever. It's politics. And let politicians deal with politics. The way Wiki selected Sim, let two of them sort themselves out, and people should stop disturbing the space. Because, like I said earlier on, which we agree, we have surrendered. But even in being conquered, we deserve some peace, please. We deserve some kind of peace. You know, you don't look us in the face and say we're all stupid. No, I'm not one. Anybody can admit to that, but I'm not one. I believe that the only solution to what we have, situation we have now, is for politicians to sit back and play hard politics. And say to say, okay, fine, we've come this far. Can we go this far? Can you have this? Can you have this? Let me have this. Let us have, because it's always been about power sharing. No more, no less.
Well, fantastic. Kingsley Wali, it's been a fantastic conversation with you, and we must thank you so much for your bold stance and also for your fair and outspoken views concerning issues of investor. Thank you so much. By the way, you're looking fantastic. The last time I saw your video on Facebook where you were dancing the Kodi dance, I said, look at this one.
You know, that's what happens when you go into retirement happily, you know. So you have enough time to yourself. But just one last statement that I would like to make, you know, before I get off. I want to advise the younger ones. You see, there's a joke that I see on the social media space. You don't know who will be your destiny helper. It's not every time you resort to insult. You can make an argument without necessarily insulting anybody. Don't follow my generation. My generation have no good example to show you. Design your own way of moving forward. And most importantly, get to learn about your history. Read about those who made political changes in this country. And you find out that it's so easy for you to challenge political authority without fear, ill will, or too much affection. Thank you.
Thank you so much, K-Man, Kingsley Wali, Godfather, or K-Man. Thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank this Saturday. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good day.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. You're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt.